Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name's Ian. This is Starship Studios. We are live tonight on Starship Adventures for the Sights and Sounds of Earth. And tonight, there's not a lot of big news stories, so we've got a bunch of different things we're going to be doing tonight. But welcome to the show. It's going to be good. Let's get back to get over to our grid and see where we're at tonight. I've got, wow, it didn't come up. The upper left corner there, I've got one of our Skid Row cams again. I'll switch that one out shortly. In the middle, I got Times Square. Upper right, this is back at the Federal Building in LA. This is purported to be a live protest, although I've seen no one in the camera. It's just a guy walking around. I think he's waiting for the people to show up or something. I don't know. And then the one right up here above me, that is a rolling shot of 50 different webcams. They even have shots of the Earth and the sun and different things in here. And we'll let that run through a few times, and then we'll switch it out with 2 or 3 other ones that I have available. But we are going to be keeping an eye on different things. As far as weather tonight, we don't have a large area of potential bad weather, but we do have this area right here. And it looks like Casper, Wyoming is included, Cheyenne, and Denver. So this is up a little further west than where we've been the last week. So anybody in Wyoming and Colorado tonight, you stand the risk for some pretty bad storms, rain, possibly even a tornado, and the far western reaches of Nebraska. You as well have the it's a 2 out of 5, I think, or something like that. 2 out of 5. It's not a real high risk, but we will keep an eye on it. We did have a storm chaser out, and they have gone off radar here, but we will keep an eye out for them. I don't even have any cameras out where all this is going on tonight, so we're just kind of hanging loose there. But we do have some pretty bad weather down here moving through the Atlanta area, and it's a mess down here. But no watches or warnings issued. It's just the basic deal. Wow, that's a nice shot. I'll leave that up too. All right, yeah, and then up here in Clayton, which is up near my cabin, got a neat shot there of the mountains. And I'll leave those up for right now while we're finding something to put up. Let's do a quick a rundown of what we got going on tonight. Space weather-wise, solar activity's low right now. There's currently 9 sunspots on the solar disk. However, none of them are really active. None of them are showing the magnetic potential for any big explosions or anything. So we're just kind of keeping an eye on that, because we are, like I said, right at the peak of season right now. And so this would be the time when we could actually see some pretty big, pretty big solar flares that could be what they call geo-affected. And they could create issues with power grids and radio communications and things like that. All right, I'm getting you guys up. Every night I have to go through this 12-step process, because it signs me in as the wrong account, and then I got to go switch the account, and then I got to go all the way back in again. All right, Carlotta, thanks for being here tonight. Ding, ding. Aquarius. Brandon, thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Like I said earlier, I don't bullshit you guys like the media. I don't tell you, hey, it's busy, and then try to make it look like it's busy. It's not busy. It's not that busy out there at all tonight. But we are watching. I'm watching the top scanner feeds, which is one way that I get notified if there's something going on. We'll actually see the scanner traffic go up in a town, and we'll know something's going on there. I also check the top feeds. Right now, Indianapolis, Lassen County, Cleveland Police, Rochester, and Greater Lansing. These are the ones that are always at the top. I don't know why. But let's say a big thing happens in New York or something. You can go in here and you can, any time of the day or night, you can check and see what which feeds are the top feeds going on right now. And here's the link for that if you guys want to check it out. That scanner program that Jake is building, it's working. It's up and working. He's sending me a link. I'll have it by the end of the show probably. And I will go ahead and install it in a computer in the morning if I've got time and see if I can get it going. He says it works flawlessly. I'll explain real quick what it does. This is software that we actually, I drew up the spec on it, and it was quite an expansive spec of exactly what it needed to do. And then I sent it over to Jake, and Jake stuck it into his, and I ran it through ChatGPT to make sure that everything was right and to rewrite it better. And then I sent it over to Jake. He stuck it in whatever program he's using over there, AI, and it builds the program. And then it makes an installer for it. And it works. You hit the button, it loads up, and basically all you do is put in the links right off of Broadcastify. You put in the links that you want to scan right in the program. And once you put the link in the program, it'll begin to pull any traffic that comes up on that scanner feed, and it will record everything that it hears with a break between each. And then what it does is it stores that radio transmission just for a few moments until it can be played next in the play queue. So in other words, we're eliminating the dead air, we're eliminating the multiple transmissions, and we're eliminating missing transmissions. We're literally eliminating all three of the problems. The only problem this does bring up is when it gets real busy, it will buffer out a little bit. It'll be a few minutes behind. That's not a big deal, really. The point is this takes away most of the negativity and the issues when it comes to when it comes to scanning radio traffic. Because look, if you got a scanner and it's scanning down through them and it stops on this one, while it's listening to this guy talk about whatever, down here there's something big going on. There's a pursuit going on, but you're not hearing it because the scanner is stuck up here on channel 3. The pursuit's going on channel 5. That happens a lot. With this, it'll record one and record the other one, and then whichever one started first, it'll play that one next. And so basically it's always playing, and because of that, no dead air, no missed transmissions, and no double transmissions. I think it's going to be amazing. This may be something people might want to buy or something. I don't know. We're going to see how it works, and we're going to be adding display functionality. You'll actually see on the window on the video that you're watching, when you're listening to the scanner, you'll see the aircraft tracker and the radar and all the different things. If there's a call sheet for that town, you'll see that also. But what you'll also see is a radio display, just like you're listening to the radio, and it will tell you what channel you're listening to at all times. So the moment you hear somebody start talking, you can look up and it'll say Indianapolis Dispatch 2 or whatever. So you know exactly who you're listening to the entire time you're listening. And this is really cool because for the first time in my life, I couldn't find something, and I went and found the people and the resources, and we're making it ourselves. We're literally just making it ourselves. So I'm very happy with that. Yeah, we're looking at that, Aquarius. We're looking at that. We're looking at whether we want to go proprietary with it or just offer it for free. It's not something that's going to be widely sought after, but it is something that I think enough people would like to have. The big thing nowadays is to do like a $3 deal or a $2 deal because people don't mind spending small amounts of money. I don't know. We'll look at it. Truthfully, it took us 2 days to build it, make it, produce it, and start using it. So, yeah. I'm not greedy, but it's Jake's program. He's going to make that decision. I get the first copy and it's free, but he's making that decision. All right, so nothing going on the scanner feeds. We've got the regular, just the regular top 10 feeds going on there. My Lord, it's all just politics tonight. Oh my God. It's just all politics. I get so sick of politics. Huh. That's interesting. That website was not updated. All right, let's take a quick look over. We got the tropics we got to talk about. I put up a posting just a little while ago that I do want to kind of go over with everybody. I don't think people realize this. I had several people this week post and send me emails and even tell me at the station, and one of them even said on our air that this hurricane season's just another big bust. And I'm like, really? It's not even August yet, right? And I think a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people realize exactly where we are in the season. Because when you start talking about hurricane season, all right, we're not even really in it yet, okay? I mean, I think that's probably the big fallacy right now is all these people that are saying, well, what happened? It's just a big old bust. No, it's not a big old bust. There, look at this chart that I just put up. I got to tell you, it's not a dud at all. We haven't even seen what's going to happen yet. This data here is from the last 20 years. It shows you, or it's from 20 years just to recently, and it shows you what you need to know. If you guys remember, we had remnants of Barry that flooded parts of Texas. Chantel caused major flooding in North Carolina. Do you remember that? That was terrible. They're still recovering up there. Invest 93 delivered soaking rains across the southeast. These weren't Category 5 monsters, but they were impactful on the areas that they hit. And the difference is these were all tropical systems that were tracked as tropical storms. And we're actually, well, I think we've used up the C storm. I think we're up to the D storm or something. So we are right where we're supposed to be right now. July is typically a quieter month. Most of the truly active things that happen during hurricane season happen in August and September and even early October. So no one needs to let their guard down. You should still be planning for this season, not thinking in your head that it's over, okay? And I don't care whether you're in Mobile, Alabama, or Brownsville, Texas, or New York City. We all got to be ready for this thing. And it's going to be a hell of a season. But it may not be a devastating, catastrophic like we've seen in some years just recently. My homestead where I grew up, where my mom still lives, has been flooded 3 times in the last 3 years. And, yeah, and we're hoping it doesn't happen again. Although, you know what we did this time for her cabinets? We put in those outdoor cabinets. So hopefully this third set of cabinets will be the last set of cabinets that we have to put in there, and granite countertops. So that you can flood the kitchen, and all we have to do is pull the panels underneath and blow air up in there, and we should be fine. We've done a lot of things at her house to prepare us for the next flood. And I grew up in that house. They built that house in '69. That house got flooded 3 times in 3 years. But it never flooded before that. Not in 50-something years, 52 years, it never flooded. And then all of a sudden it flooded. So, and it flooded 3 times in 2 years. Let's see here. You know, no one's hoping for a busy season, but also what I find with hurricane season, it's the same with people on a lot of things. My father had this problem. He's one of these people that no matter what the newsman said, when they would go to commercial, he'd turn and look to my mom and say, "So it's not coming here." I mean, that's literally, he would literally, no matter what the guy said, it didn't matter because it was not coming here. And he lived his whole life like that. And he died just before Irma hit. So we've had 4 or 5 hurricanes, 3 of them major, since he died. But before that, the whole time my dad was living here in Florida and alive and everything, the last storm they had before that was 1960, Hurricane Donna. So it's one of those things where, yeah, we've had a busy 3 or 4 years here. Wow, it's been crazy. But we're also in a busy part of a cycle right now. This will spin back around and we'll get into a slower cycle. You've got the La Nina, El Nino cycle. You've also got about 10 other cycles that are going on, hundreds of other cycles that are going on. There's cycles with the vortex in the water in the Gulf of America. There is, no matter what you talk about, everything has a cycle. It's not just the moon cycle and the Earth around the sun cycle and the Earth tilt cycle. Those are the big ones, but we've got hundreds of other cycles that are all going on too. That's why, if you go back in time from 1965 to 1985, scientists all thought we were going to all freeze to death. They said there would not be enough heating oil in the United States and that we were all going to freeze to death. And so what happened? Oh my God, they started talking about people are all going to have to move to the tropics. And they were even so far as people are going to have to stop having babies soon because it's going to be so cold. Of course, it didn't happen. The cycle hit the bottom, in the 70s. And then in the 80s, we started to see warming around. Everything was getting warmer. And that's because we're in that part of the cycle right now. It has a lot to do with the 11-year solar cycle, too. And so for 20 years now, 20 years up till about 10 years ago, people started thinking global warming. It's warming. Oh, my God, it's warming. We're all going to die. It's going to raise a few degrees. We won't be able to grow crops. It's going to make the weather crazy. It's going to all do all this stuff. Now we've seen that playing out. It's not happening. Because we're now in the next part of the cycle, and now we're coming back down the other side again. Now, I'm not saying that man has absolutely no impact at all on the planet. Don't take me the wrong way. Of course, it's never anything near as big as what all these specialists and scientists tell us. If we'd have listened to Al Gore 25 years ago, Miami would be under 4 feet of water right now. There would be water right up to my ditch out here, and my mother's house would have water inside of it right now. None of that tidal rise we were promised ever happened. And that's because we now have ice building in the poles. No matter what happens out there, the earth fixes it. It's a cycle, and everything just keeps churning along. And eventually, in 20 years, my prediction in about 15 to 20 years is the science will begin to say that it looks like we're getting colder again and that we're going to be heading for an ice age and all this kind of stuff. And again, it'll probably just again be alarmism. The overall climate on this planet rarely changes much at all. If you want to know the truth, we see more change over 50 years because of the city growing around the sensor than we do actually in a rise in actual temperatures. So, like I said, as far as if you want to argue man messing up the planet, I'm not going to get into that argument with you. There may be some effects that man is having on the planet. I'm sure there is, actually. But the whole we're all going to die because of global warming thing has been way overhyped. And the science isn't, I'm a science guy, it's not proving out. It's just not. We're not seeing that rise anymore. Even in the last 3 or 4 years, we're seeing the sea surface temperatures. They're still high, but they're not as high as they were. Every year they come down another degree, another half a degree. So we're starting to see it happen. Geothermal drilling, yeah. It's good for getting heat. And it won't be enough to really change anything globally. We're doing the same thing down here, believe it or not. I know this sounds crazy, but down here in Florida, it gets so hot what we're doing is we run pipes way down like a mile into the ground, 2 of them, and the water comes out of the one and comes up the other one. And they send the water down this long tube, down to the bottom, and then they suck it up the other side in the other tube, all the way back up. It's a metal pipe. And what it does is it chills that water down to 72 degrees. Because our ground here, once you get down 5 feet, our ground becomes 72 degrees, and it stays almost a constant here in Southwest Florida. So you can chill air down to 72 degrees by just running that water that you just fed way down in the ground, running it through chillers and chilling the air down. You'll never get it colder than about 74 degrees in the building you're trying to cool. But on an average day, if it's built right, you can get 74 degrees, and you're never turning the first compressor. Now, you can add a couple of small units to the back side or the front side of it, and you can bring it down to whatever you need and just use the big system to do most of the cooling, and then get a little more boost from another unit. But that's how they're doing it here. All the big schools, all that kind of stuff, they're literally bleeding off the heat from the school down into the ground, way down deep, where I don't believe it hurts anything. Yeah, salt mine. Yes, we do need more advanced power. Yes, well, the advancements in fusion continue. The advancements in nuclear, it's all there. Nuclear can be done safely. We have had very few large-scale issues because of nuclear. All of them were contained by humans. All of them, both of them, I should say. You got Chernobyl, of course. That happened. We all know all the situation about that. I mean, it was hastily built, crappy maintenance, the usual bull crap. A lot of people lost their life. It was a mess. Whole town's a ghost town now. I'm not saying there's anything good about it. And then we had Fukushima Daiichi. I'm sorry. Sorry, my Japanese is not great tonight. But Fukushima Daiichi was the nuclear plant over there, and they had that big 8-something quake, and it caused the cooling generator units to go offline, and that caused a partial meltdown. That's been contained. That is currently contained. There's no big, huge, large, everybody's going to die situation going on. Okay, so that's the 2. Then you can throw in 3 Mile Island. Okay, we almost had a meltdown there, but the guys got it under control. Okay, and that's about it. There's really not that many of them. There's things about nuclear power plants that make them a wonderful thing to have on the grid, and I'm going to tell you what it is. Number 1, okay, a nuclear power plant is like one big, huge dimmer switch. You can put those rods as far down or as far up as you want. You can create however much electricity you need. You can create whatever energy you need to then go over and turn the turbines or however you're making it. And it's all completely scalable. So when something happens out on the grid and we need to come up 20% grid wide, that nuclear plant's right in there. Remember, I've been telling you guys, the problem is not the solar panels or the windmills or the tidal stuff. It's all decent technology. We're starting to get there. The problem is we can't control it. It comes in, it doesn't come in. We have no control over it. So like what happened in Greece, if there's not enough control, then when the grid sees a sudden undervolt or a sudden overvolt, it just starts shutting everything down, which creates more overvolts, which shuts more things down. And we end up with several Eastern European countries going dark along the Med. And it happened. And it happened because they took all the nuclear plants offline. They've taken all the coal plants offline. They're down to just a few secondary plants that run on gas and this and that. And so when the grid suddenly lost 15% of its voltage, there was no way to pump up the volume. There was just no way to do it. So what ended up happening was the grid went down. And it was hours and days before everybody got their lights back on. And so nuclear is the way to go, because nuclear actually gives you a fairly quick response time, spooling it up, spooling it down. All your other ones, natural gas is a great way to make electricity. Coal still works. The new plants with the new scrubbers and stuff, not so bad on the environment. But we are moving to natural gas and things like that. All that stuff's decent. Solar, wind, there's a place for all of it right now. We need to make as much electricity as we can. But I think nuclear is ultimately the answer. It's certainly going to be the answer in spacecraft until we come up with antimatter. If anybody's got an idea on that, let me know. But for right now, it's going to be nuclear. And I know people don't like nuclear. Nuclear is a lot like assault weapons. People don't like them because they kill people and they're angry looking. I get it. But they also serve their purpose. And it's the same thing with the nuclear power plant. You can power entire towns and cities and parts of states with one nuclear power plant. It's amazing. And the chance of meltdown's not that big. It really isn't. Life's a risk. You put up horns and alarms. You do what you got to do. Yep, the bills are going up. That's another thing. If you're tired of your bills going up, nuclear's the answer. People say, no, solar's the answer. If you don't like your power bill going up, solar's the answer. Solar's not breaking even right now. Solar's not breaking. I'm going to say it again. Solar's not breaking even right now. If you build a nuclear plant, you can make enough electricity with that plant that you can pay it off. But you can put out a solar field, and those solar panels start going bad before you make all your money back. And so you end up not. Same thing with windmills. That's the problem with windmills. It takes $300,000 to put it up. It takes $200,000 to operate it and maintenance it. And it takes another $116,000 to tear it down. By the time you're done, you didn't generate that much electricity in 15 years. So it's not just sustainability, but you have to have an element of profitability as well. If you can at least break even, there's no hope. Fusion would be better than, yeah. I mean, you got fission and fusion. And fusion is definitely the we believe would eventually be the easier one to control, I would think. I don't know. I hate to see the nuclear get such a bad rap and go away, because I'm telling you, I think there's something to it. I do. I think that's how it needs to be done. It's an energy that just sits there. You know what I mean? A very, very small amount of material creates an incredibly large amount of electricity, which creates a minute amount of waste, which we have found ways to safely store. When's the last time you heard about a bunch of people dying at a nuclear storage disposal place? You don't. It's not like Space 1999. We're not having to blast it to the moon and all that. Yeah, here's my thing with that, okay? Solar panels taking over farm fields and forests. Yes, I have a problem with that. You're telling me you're doing this to be green, and then you level 6 acres of beautiful hardwood forests up in the mountains of North Carolina, and then you put in solar panels, and then you come in and spray underneath them with Roundup so you don't have to mow? That's good for the environment? I don't know. Those trees you cut down would have taken care of all the coal that the coal plant's producing. I mean, you have to really start looking at this from a scientific, logical standpoint, and not a political one. What are we doing? Here's my question. Is there a better way? Where else can we put solar panels? I got to tell you, if they could put them on people's roofs without making them leak like a sieve, that would work great. But they can't. Every roof they put them on leaks like a sieve. Down here in Florida, it's crazy. Every roof they put these things on, they leak like a sieve. The roof just starts pouring down. It's like I don't understand it. So adding this to an existing roof doesn't seem to be a good idea. But yet, if you did have it on your roof and it didn't leak, it would provide you with a roof over a roof with a wind in between effect, and it would actually give you a great R rating in your attic, and it would also provide you with the electricity to run your air conditioner. So, I mean, I see putting them on homes is the way to go. Why can't they build a big rack that doesn't actually mount to the roof or something? Just build a big rack system that sits up there or something. I don't know. Floating solar arrays. That would work as long as you're on a pond or something, but then you're killing whatever. Are you killing what's in the pond? It can't be in the ocean, obviously, to the wave action and storms. I don't know. There's an issue with that. I'll tell you, Tesla, again, and some of the companies that are working with putting solar technology on cars, they might have the answer. Eventually, they're working right now on a way to paint onto the surface of something and then be able to create it out of that. You know, actually, like almost like a wrap on a car. It would be like a wrap you would put on the car, but it's a solar wrap. I know that's crazy, but I read an article about it. I was kind of impressed. Galactic, I'm not doubting it. I just know that anywhere around here, the wave action would be prohibitive. But hey, if you put it on a big enough structure and it's just sitting out there, I guess it'll work. Yeah, the metal roofs are worth every penny extra you pay for them because your shingle roof's done in fit. Down here, you get about 15, maybe 20 years out of a shingle roof. The metal roofs pretty much last indefinitely. We haven't been using the metal roofs but about 30 years down here. Before that, we had tin roofs, and those kind of rusted up. But this newer stuff they're using now, galvanized, painted, it's electrostatically painted galvanized. That's what we've got on 2 of the 3 places I have. At my old homestead, at that house, we've got what I just said. Here I got regular tar shingles. I mean, it's a regular deal, but it's a new roof. Thank God I put it on just before these hurricanes. And then my one in the cabin it's Kelly Green. It's the electro-painted pans up there. And that's definitely the way to go on an A-frame for sure, because an A-frame is all roof. Yes, Brandon, I did hear about that. Can't confirm or deny anything, obviously, but I heard that. You know, it's distressing when just recently we found out that our military has bought some stuff from China. We have companies that are doing like infrastructure work for the government who are getting all their communications equipment directly from China. I mean, they're even being programmed over there. So we have no idea when all this stuff comes over here. I happen to believe that much of what they send over here does something that we are not aware that it's doing. Let me just put it that way. Most people are not even aware that many smart TVs have a camera on them, a high definition camera. We had one in our room. I come home one day, I said, look at this. This TV's had a camera sitting here looking right in our bed for the last 2 years. I didn't even realize it. Little teeny pinhole camera. So now I got little pieces of tape over all the little cameras and everything. They're not all cameras. Sometimes it's a little hole because there's a light in there, but you'll be able to tell if it's a camera. Some TVs have cameras. Data centers in the ocean make sense because cooling is one of the biggest problems we have in data centers. It's where about half of the electricity gets used up because as these machines make heat, we have to then move that heat outside the building to keep it cool. once we do that, once we move that like that, then all we have to do is pump seawater and into a part of it that has chillers, and then just transfer the air from those chillers all through all your equipment. And if you go kind of even a little deep out in the ocean, depending on where you do it, you're going to have cold water. So you would be able to dissipate as much heat as you needed to dissipate, and it would be a lot cheaper than doing it with compressors like we're doing it now. Space is very cold, but the dynamics of moving the thermal energy becomes a little more interesting. It's a lot easier to dissipate thermal energy into water than it is into nothing. You can't pump space through a chiller or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't work. The other thing in space that's crazy is you're in an orbiting station, and when you're in the shade, it's minus 150 degrees, and when you're in the sun, it's plus 150 degrees, or 200 degrees, whatever. And so not only is it very hot or very cold, but it's both, and it can be both in a rapid succession. No, space is not air with no oxygen. Space is truly space. Space is a place where the particles are so far spaced out that there's nothing there to really count, so we just call it space. Now, I'm not talking near orbit or any of that. I'm talking out in space, out in open space. It's not air with no oxygen. It's the complete lack of pressure. There's no pressure. That's why when we see these space shows and the people just freeze when they go into space, it would be more like a small explosion. I mean, you would see people would go like that, because it's a complete vacuum in space. And because it's a complete vacuum, there's nothing really to suck in and blow out in order to affect the temperature change inside your ship. What they do on ours now is they circulate coolant in the ship, around the outside of the ship, so that the warm areas can pick up the thermal energy and deliver it to the cool areas that are on the cool side of the ship. Yep, space is a complete vacuum. That's why even like Mars has less than 2% of Earth's pressure. That's why there's no way we'll ever be able to live on Mars without pressure suits. And unless we get 400 or 500 years down the road and we start terraforming, and what that would be is we would be taking material from the planet and rearranging it into oxygen molecules and things like that. That's way in the future. But that's the only way that Mars will ever be able to be a normal planet again, where it has an atmosphere. It would take years of terraforming with large terraforming structures that do nothing but beam parts of the planet and turn it into raw material, and then make it into like oxygen and nitrogen molecules. And then you begin to build the volume of the planet, because you can turn one sand molecule into hundreds of thousands of oxygen molecules, and eventually the planet surface begins to build pressure. And once you get to 70, 80, 90% of Earth pressure, people would be able to depressurize and live in that environment. And then they'd have to repressurize back up to our environment, just like when you go diving. It's really a cool concept. Low pressure living is possible, but we still need like 60 pounds, 70 pounds. You can really, 60 or 70% of Earth gravity, Earth pressure. Guys, I'm very tired tonight. I'm sorry. I said I was going to do an hour last night. I did over four. Tonight, I'm going to definitely not be doing a late show. I'm literally dry mouthed, and I'm just saying the wrong words. It's amazing. Yep, it's a vacuum. The thing with space is it is everybody always says space is the most harshest environment in the world, or that we know of as men. Where else is there more of a harsh environment? I'll tell you, the bottom of the sea. You will die faster if you were beamed into a mile deep in the ocean. you would die faster than if you were beamed into open space. Still, we're talking a few seconds, but the point is the extreme pressure would just be incredible. It would crush you instantly because of the air molecules in your body, especially your lungs and your bowels and things like that. Where in space, all that shit that's in you and all that blood and all that farts and everything else in there and lungs, all that tries to tend to get out when you are beamed into space. It all tries to get out of you, and it causes like a blah. Anyway, so there you go. You guys had no idea we were doing Faces of Death tonight, did you? Well, there you go. It happened. It happened. All right, let's see what we got. There is nothing to talk about in the tropics. There is no tropical formation expected in the next, God knows how many days, 10 days, I don't know. And they did just shrink the area again that we're looking at for severe weather tonight. Here is this is the severe weather outlook for tonight. I love that. It's the National Weather Service, serving you since 1870. Anyway, you can see there up in the upper left corner, you've got two slight areas right there. Those are 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5, those two little slivers. And so we can see those here on radar Omega. If I back out, there's those two slivers right there that we just looked at. Not much going on right now, though, and no storm chasers. This is the only storm that's really doing anything. Let's pull up single site radar. Oh, there's a radar right there. Not a lot going on tonight. We did space weather. Let's talk seismic anomalies. I need like an opener. Ladies and gentlemen, and now, seismic anomalies. Right here on Starship Adventures, your home for seismic anomalies. Okay, there you go. Look at that swarm, guys. See that big circle? That's our one from the other night. See, I can hit it. Boom, 8.8. We just had one. All these purple ones turned pink because we just flipped over 12 hours or whatever. There was a 4.9 that literally just dropped. So they're still having them. Look how dense this is. You rarely see swarms like this. This is a very dense swarm. Does this mean there's going to be another one? Yes and no. It means the likelihood is high that there could be another major one. However, a lot of times when you see a major one like that 8.8, this is all just aftershocks, and that was the party. So it all just depends. There's no way to know for sure. I hate to say it, but geology, a lot of it, is a very it's. Let me just put it this way: volcanologists and seismologists and all these folks, they do a really good job. They take a lot of data and they crunch it down, and they're definitely come out on the high side of prognostication. I mean, it's a lot better to listen to these guys than to guess yourself. They're making a really good educated guess. But that being said, it's not a true science. It's not an exact science is what I'm trying to say. And so what ends up happening a lot of times is just like with the weather and with space weather and also with seismology and everything else, predictions are right. Sometimes predictions are wrong. And yeah. Well, we haven't heard of anything, but Russia does not tell us what the hell's going on in there. They don't even tell their own people what's going on in their country. So, you ever wonder why our TVs start with channel 2? The old analog channels? You ever wonder? Right after TV was invented, Russia immediately started making televisions because they felt that this was a great way for the Kremlin to speak to the people through television. And when it built their televisions, there was 12 channels, and channel 1 was the government channel, was the Kremlin channel. And you went there, and it was 24 hours a day filling your head with bullshit. And when they built our commercial televisions here and they set down the spectrum, they're like, we're a free country. We do not have a government channel. Start every TV on channel 2. It's just like that today. The analog channels on TVs still come with analog channels in them. I can't believe it. At least up till about a year or two ago. And those channels are 2 through 13, not 1 through 12. I've always thought that was just so interesting. Yeah, I'm interested to know what happened in Russia over there, but I'm not confident that we're ever going to hear anything. I really don't. I don't think we're going. I'm sorry about the yawning, guys. I hate people that yawn on the radio, so I guess I hate myself. Put this back over here. The other thing I did want to mention tonight, real quick, because it was mentioned last night in the show, and I had several people talk about it in the show, and I just wanted to bring up tonight something that you may or may not be aware of, and that is the fair use doctrine. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time because it's boring, but I just want to mention a few things. When breaking news happens, anyone can cover it. We're all news. The First Amendment and the five facets of the First Amendment, they protect us. And one of those facets is the freedom of press. It doesn't say freedom of press to anybody that has CNN credentials. Okay? It says freedom of press. Press, or media as we're calling it now, is anyone that is reporting the happenings in the world to the public at large. That could be 5 people on YouTube. If you pull up at an accident and you go up on the side out of the way where you're not in the way, and you take video of the accident and you go live on YouTube and you're carrying it live, 100% legal. You don't even have to ID if they ask you. It's 100% legal. You're a journalist. If they ask for journalist ID, ask them who issues journalist ID, because the journalist companies issue the IDs. And if you're a stringer or a YouTuber or a private, any private person with a camera, you're not going to have media ID. They can't require media ID. And so that's part of the fair use doctrine, is if I'm going to report on what they're reporting on, I can show some of what they're reporting while I'm reporting on it. That's fair use doctrine. So basically, occasionally I'll have someone come in here and say, I'm going to report you. I'm going to flag your channel. I'm going to tell the guys you're doing this. And that's what happened last night. There was a few threats leveled. And that's fine. Nothing has happened, because I think they probably went and read the associated laws and realized that we're 100% legal. Or YouTube checked it and said, yeah, you're 100% legal. Either way. The fair use doctrine, codified in Title 17 of the United States Code, Section 107, which permits the limited use of copyrighted material without requiring permission from the rights holders. This is not a loophole. It's the cornerstone of American media. It allows for education, commentary, news reporting, research, and criticism. And my channel does all of those while I'm showing the video. Our coverage qualifies under these 4 legal fair use factors. Number 1 is the purpose and character of use. And what that means is, what am I using it for? Am I using it to show you guys what's going on around the world? Or am I using it to fake like I'm that person to try to get hits for my channel? There's a big difference. And that's where the purpose and character of what's being used and how it's being used is one of the facets of this. Number two, does the video serve news reporting or educational purposes? Okay? You have to ask yourself, is it news reporting and communication reporting and educational purposes? Or is it commercial redistribution for profit? Because that's illegal. If I took a storm chaser tonight and I put him full screen and I put his audio on and I just play the storm chaser, which people do this every night. I was looking around the other night. I had 5 or 6 channels showing the same storm chaser, but only one channel was him. Everybody else was spoofing just to get hits. I don't do that. That's illegal. If I go full screen, it's not with audio. I go full screen for just like a minute and I'm done. I do it to show you real quick what's going on, and then I go back and put it in the little postage stamp again. All of my videos are this big. And by doing that, it meets that facet as well. Number 3, this facet. We transform the material by adding live commentary, critical analysis, and public safety updates using the material. That's all true as well. We're showing people, here's where the hurricane, here's where the tornado is, here's where the shooter might be, here's what's going on with the riot, you want to avoid downtown. We are reporting news any way you want to look at it. And what is the nature of the work that you're using? This is another big one. This is the 4th facet. This factor weighs very strongly on whether it's fair use or not. The nature of the copyrighted work. Now, if I'm talking about Star Trek and I start showing you guys 3 and 4 minute snippets of the episodes, that's not really fair use. That's a television show. It's designed specifically for entertainment, not news. It's designed specifically, as a television show and not to inform or educate or any of that kind of stuff. And then I'm going to go on and show it in some way. And even if I talk over it, that's still going to not be good enough for this because of that part right there. What is the nature of the copyrighted work? Notice what I'm putting up. Webcams, weather cams, storm chaser cams, hell, bar cams. They're all a form of reporting live content. It's news, and it's all covered. Now, if I put up 5 different episodes of Star Trek playing up here, even on these little windows with no audio, I'm walking a very tight line, probably wrong. I'm probably wrong. So I'm very careful about this. I'm very careful that everything I show meets these guidelines because I want to make sure that the nature of the copyrighted work fits along with what I'm doing. It's news reporting. It's weather reporting. It's informing the public of current events, and that's exactly what it is. Is the footage used typically factual in nature? That's another one. It's not creative work. It's not people who wrote a Star Trek episode and then produced it and acted it and then made the special effects for it. No, I'm talking about a TV station that's got a guy standing out on the side of the road telling us what's going on. I can use that all day long. I can't sit there and rebroadcast it in its original form, but I can use it all day long. I can put it in a small window, give you guys 10 minutes of audio, and I can get away with that because it's a news station reporting news, and I'm reporting the news that they're reporting. I'm reporting their coverage of the news. Trust me, I work in this business. I am so intimate with this law. Newsworthy content is held to a very different standard when it's used to inform or protect the public. Okay? It's different when it's a live storm chaser. That's a newsworthy content. And the information being provided can be used to inform and protect the public. The amount you use and how you use it is another one. I can use a lot of it if I'm just using a little teeny window and no audio. I can run it on here all night. Some of these providers, they don't like it, but there's nothing really you can do about it as long as I'm just doing little teeny windows. And the point is, it doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't. When someone asks, I put the link. A lot of my descriptions, I'll have the links of the places we went. I don't always promise that. I try. So there's, fair use. You don't have to attribute, but it's good to. If you can put their name on the screen, that's great. Whatever you can do, it's all considered a positive thing. But it's not necessary for it to be a fair use of something. In no case do we re-upload or stream an entire broadcast or even edit an entire broadcast down to make it look like it's our edited content. We don't do that. We don't do it. I rarely put any of this kind of content in something I'm making as a video. It's only when we're live because we're informing, we're doing news content. Our use does not harm the original creator's market or replace the need to view the original work. We credit and link the sources whenever possible. This, in some respects, I think what we do increases the amount of exposure that not only the, I don't know what you want to call it, the career or art or science of chasing storms. I think it does. I think it brings it into the public eye, and it also could bring clicks and likes and hits to their stuff that they're doing as well. Our content is designed to educate the public. I guess you guys have learned, over the years, I've been an educator. I was a training officer for many years at the fire department. I trained many firefighters how to not die. And by the way, none of them have ever died that I trained. That's important. Anyway, I love to inform and to teach and to give news content. I love doing it. Not only do we meet YouTube's uses and standards, I think this is important. The community guidelines. We not only meet the community guidelines, but we exceed the guidelines in both practicality and in spirit. I'm not playing any games. I know exactly what I'm doing here. I try very hard not to get in trouble. When I do get a copyright hit, I haven't never gotten a strike. Just so you know, I've never gotten a copyright strike in 5 years. But when I get a copyright notice, I immediately fix it. Sometimes I challenge it if they're wrong. I had scanner traffic from the Baltimore Bridge going down. And I played the scanner traffic of the guys going, oh my God, the bridge is coming down. And I had someone in Indonesia say that was their copyrighted work. And I decided to take them to war, and I did. I took them right to the mat. And I fought it and fought it and fought it, and finally they came back and said, you win. You're right, that's not his thing. I don't know. I don't do it a lot. But when I got somebody that is literally what they do, just so you guys know this is a scam. What they do in Indonesia or in Mumbai or in Iran, wherever, they sit in their place, whatever it is, and they sit on a computer connected to the same internet that we're on, and they try to just scam you in every single possible way that they can scam you. And one of the ways that they do it is through YouTube, by putting on these spoof videos and by copying your videos and then putting them on. But one of the other things that they're doing now is they'll take a piece of audio like that scanner traffic, and they will tell they'll put up a video with that scanner traffic in it. Now, no one else has said that Scanner traffic is copyrighted because it's not copyrighted. It's scanner traffic. Scanner traffic is never copyrighted. Anything that goes over a radio is never copyrighted, period, end of the story. And they'll say that this is copyrighted. It's not. Anyway, hold on. I just got distracted. Give me 1 second here. Yes, non-monetized broadcasting is all just fair use anyway. When you get to monetized broadcasting, like my radio show, you could play 30, 40 seconds of my radio show and then react to it. That would be illegal. That would be legal. Mm-hmm. This show, you could easily play portions of this show. As long as you're adding commentary, it's legal. It's okay. It's what I mean. This is what we're doing. We're reporting on the reporting on the reporting. But it's, I think where people get messed up with this is they start to believe that, hey, I put something out that's original. No one's allowed to put it anywhere or recreate it or anything without my permission. And that's true, except fair use. You have to take fair use into consideration. And if I'm not recreating your content, I'm putting it up in a small window, then it's completely covered by fair use. I'm not going to go through them, but I listed on the website. If you guys are ever worried about fair use, go pull what I put on the website here. I wrote this, and then I had it tweaked by AI. This is good. I've got 5 legal cases here that talk about all of the legal case law that establish what is fair use. And it's all in here as well. Fair use is used by every major newsroom and YouTube, most YouTubers. It's used by radio stations. It's used foreign, domestic. It's used for everything, okay? Could you imagine if your local news was not allowed to show anybody's face if they didn't have a written thing? Or if they weren't allowed to show a website without permission from the website? Or they weren't allowed to show a YouTube or a TikTok video without permission from the YouTuber or the TikToker? All that's fair use. So, because they're reporting news on it. And anytime they're reporting news on something, then that easily will qualify it under fair use. Let's see here. All right, well, let's go ahead and tell you guys, my mind is gone tonight, guys. It's gone. I'm sitting here. I'm losing my train of thought. I'm not quite delusional, although I get that way eventually. But I'm really like losing it here. So I'm going to call this in about another 30 minutes or so. I'm just letting you guys know if there's something you want me to if you guys have something you want to bring up or whatever, just throw it in the chat room, and I appreciate it. Yep, and let me go ahead and do a reset here. Hello, everybody. My name is Ian. This is Starship Studios, and we are live tonight on Starship Adventures worldwide on YouTube, and we are broadcasting our show tonight, The Sights and Sounds of Earth, and this is us right here doing just that. And I got to tell you, I had another screen go out today. That upright, the third upright over there, it's gone out. I got to try to power cycle it and see if I can get it to come back on. That's the 5th screen that's gone out since the lightning strike. So my equipment here has taken some damage, that's for sure. And I'm going to have to try to figure out what I'm going to do about that. I guess just replace everything that breaks and keep moving down the tracks. That's really all I can do. But anyway, I got 4 different ones over here. They're all down tonight because we're moving to the new scanner program tomorrow. And so I'm working on getting the programming and the computers ready for that changeover. So a few of our streams will be up. Most of them will be down for the next day or so. And then I'll be getting them back up as time goes on. By the end of the weekend, by Monday morning, I thoroughly expect to have all all of the feeds back up, and I should have 8 for 8 on Monday night is what I'm hoping. The FBI has left the chat. The tape over the cam. Well, thank you, Galactic. I appreciate you noticing that. I'm very opinionated, but I'm also, when it comes to science stuff especially, I much prefer to look at the middle and talk about both sides and try to find out what's going on. And I try to just not be polarized. I try to, even if I have a strong opinion, I try to understand yours too. Yeah, and I appreciate you noticing that. I really do. And we do have a Discord server, guys. I got the link for that right here. I'll throw it right there. We're just getting started over there. Feel free to go put some stuff in. We got different categories. We're going to be doing different things over there. It's going to be good. And I'm also, this is about 2 weeks down the road, I'm looking at paying a service to be able to link all of my social media accounts together and get everything integrated into one social media account management tool. And that's what I'm looking at. Once I get that done, we'll then be going up on Facebook and a bunch of others. I may even eventually do some simulcasting where on certain nights, maybe one night a week, instead of just going up on YouTube, I'll go up on 7 different broadcast services instead. And we'll just do it one night a week because YouTube is my network. But that being said, I think it'd be neat if one night a week we just go up and we're on TikTok and we're on whatever else. I don't even know what. But it's something I'm looking at. Even Discord, I believe you can do it with that. Facebook, of course, X. The car, I haven't had a chance, dude. I've been so busy. I've got all the money hidden away. I'm good to go on that. And I'm very good about not spending money I can't spend. But the point is I haven't been out looking. I think I'm going to probably go tomorrow and probably look at a few things. And then I really have a lot going on this weekend, but I'm going to have some time this weekend. And then hopefully by next week I'll find something. I'm pretty big about not buying the first thing I run into, but I also just don't have a lot of time to F off for 5 days trying to find a car. So that's where I'm at with that. But I am looking to get a better car. The car I have now I've had for a long time. It's an old van. I've had it for a long time. It's like a minivan. And it's just getting old. The engine don't sound good. We don't take it out of town anymore. And I really want something that I can mount all my equipment in and be ready to go storm chasing so that when something happens, I can run out there and jump in it and just go. And I'm going to start doing YouTube on the go as well, where I actually will have cameras in the car and everything all set up. We'll get to that. It's going to be a little ways down the road, but we'll get to that. The plan is when something happens, I can go out there and open the gate and drive out and go right to whatever it is. Whether it's a situation downtown or something that I can drive to and get live shots of. I'm basically going to be kind of a stringer in a way. I want to, whether it's tornadoes or a big fire, I want to be able to go out there and bring the live shots and bring the live show in. And so I'm wanting to do more and more of that. So I'm going to need a better car. I'm going to put some yellow lights on it that I can turn on so I don't get run over. I'm going to put a nice big bright light bar on the down low in the front so that you guys will be able to see really well when we're out doing stuff. And I think it'll be really cool. I think it's going to be great. I'm going to put a couple radios in there. I'm putting an HF rig in there and also a VHF UHF rig. And I'll have antennas on the back for that. And like I said, I'm going to have a little light that goes on the top that I can take off when I'm not doing anything. And I guess that's about it. But it's going to be nice. It's going to be all wired properly inside and everything. And should be good. I'm going to go out and do POTA, which is Parks on the Air. It's an amateur radio thing. I'll be doing a lot of that too, for sure. Oh, let's see here. All right, there's one more thing I want to talk about that I had on my agenda tonight, so let's just do it. F it, do it live. All right. Let me go back to... Okay, the last thing I want to discuss was the episode 4 of season 3, Strange New Worlds, just dropped. And I got to tell you, I'm so disheartened today. I am just absolutely disheartened as much as I could possibly be. I told you how every season they put out 9 good ones and 1 bad one. Well, they already put out a really bad one 2 episodes ago. I mean, it was bad. It was just a retread of an old episode. It was stupid. It was literally like, we can't think of nothing else, so we're going to redo this episode and we'll just change a few of the facts around. And that's all they did. They literally, it was a retread with Trelane and all that bullshit from the original series. And now, here we go, season 4 comes up, and it's called A Space Adventure Hour. That's the name of it. And it starts out, the cold open starts out on some fake TV show that's made to look like a really cheesy version of the original series. And then you realize that it somehow ends up on a holodeck, which they don't have holodecks at this point. So what this has basically done is it's broke canon. This is what they call breaking canon. Because there was no holodecks during this time period, not even on star bases. So they broke canon. They make a holodeck. Guess what? Someone goes on the holodeck doing a detective thing, and they get stuck on the holodeck, and the whole ship's going to blow up because of the holodeck. Does this sound familiar? Does this sound familiar? The Big Goodbye, Moriarty. God, we've done this how many times? Ship in a bottle, Christ. We've done this how many times? And it's another bullshit retread that they did. But this time, they did some things that are unforgivable, in my opinion. They did have the guy that plays Captain Kirk do a really cheesy Captain Kirk from the 60s. All right, I can say that's kind of funny. They had some bloopers at the end were funny, where they kind of showed bloopers from the show, from this stupid show. And one of the bloopers was the Captain Kirk character has to put his leg up over the back of the chair, and he screws the chair all up. And then I realized Jonathan Frakes, the guy that used to put his leg over every chair, directed it, and that was a little homage to him at the end. There was a few things in the episode I liked, but it was a big fail as far as most of it goes. It was just shallow. It was crappy. The Scotty character has become nothing but comic relief. It's basically the Simon Pegg character all over again, which I liked Simon Pegg as Scotty, but he was a comic, and that character became more of a comic relief character in those 3 movies. Yeah, I don't work POTA during the summer unless I'm in the mountains. I haven't worked. I'll hunt them. I haven't gone out and activated a park in months. It's just too hot, and I don't have air conditioning. I guess when my air works, I can jump out real quick and string up an antenna and jump back into the cool safety of the car. Because I got to tell you guys something. I am a big, can I say this, pussy when it comes to the heat. I crawled in burning buildings. I chased people down that had guns. I've done some dangerous shit in my life. I chase hurricanes. I do crazy stuff. All right. I was on the rappelling team and the dive team. I'm a pretty brave guy. But I can't handle the heat. When it's 105 degrees outside, I'm a pussy. I'm inside. And I'm standing at the window laughing at you and pointing because I'm not out there. No, I don't know what it is. I can't handle the heat. I was born in the wrong state. I think I was supposed to be in Minnesota, and I somehow went to the wrong parents or something. I don't know. I'm the guy that loves snow and Mexican food. I can't figure out how that all makes sense. Maybe in my last life I was a Mexican that lived in Canada. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah. I don't know. Boy, it's a slow crowd tonight. Holy crap, guys. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that it looks these episodes to me look to me like the writers don't even like the show that they're writing for. It's almost like, yeah, they made us watch Star Trek when I started here, but I didn't really like it. So now I'm like writing things that are like better than Star Trek, that are like, like new and like better. And I'm just like, you guys suck. Go back to writing real Star Trek. You guys suck. I got news. They got 2 more seasons. It's going to take them 3 years to complete those next 2 seasons and get them out. It'll be 3 years before we see the final finale of this show. And when they're all done, they will only have created 47 episodes, 46 episodes. A 5-year run, a 5-year mission to only do 46 episodes. The original 3 years, they did 76. It's ridiculous. And the cost, even in adjusted dollars, it's costing 4 times as much to make a Star Trek episode today in adjusted dollars. Why on Star Trek, why does everybody have to be screwing somebody on the ship? I mean, granted, this one's not as woke and all that, but I don't understand why everybody has to be doing... Spock's on his second love affair. He was doing Chapel for a while, and you know what? They never did each other in the real canon. So that, canon breaker there, and now he's dating this other chick, Leon, and it's like, come on, dude, seriously? Spock was not a whore in the original series. He was a Vulcan, not a whore. Why is he a whore in this? I don't get it. Christ. It's almost like they're just spinning the wheel. Who are we going to put with this season? Okay, this person's screwing this. And sometimes, like Nurse Chapel, they got her screwing Roger Corby. That's the guy that she married for a brief time before she joined the Enterprise the second time. So they're trying to keep up with some canon over here. It's like canon's really important over here. But over here, we don't give a shit about canon anymore. Look, I always look to past lives because your current life today is a lot to do with your past life. It's a lot to do with your soul's experience, and it's a lot to do with your upbringing and genes. It's all 4 of those things. All 4 of those things come together. And when I say upbringing, I mean parents and community. All right. So anyway, that's my take on it. I was unhappy, but the one thing in this that really bugged me was the guy that wrote and created the show, the fake TV show that they were making fun of in there, which was Star Trek. It's literally Star Trek making fun of Star Trek, which I don't mind when it's done in small doses. But this was bonk bonk on the effing head, if you know what I mean. Okay. And the worst part of it was they betrayed the Gene Roddenberry character was betrayed as a disheveled drunk. And it was played by Ensign Mount, the guy that plays the captain. And I'm just like, that, to me, was an insult. And I was just really upset about that. Gene Roddenberry was a lot of things, but he was not a frazzled old drunk man. That's not what he was. And it really pissed me off. Vulcan biology, they only mate every 7 years. Oh, screw that canon. Spock mates every week, every day. This guy gets laid more than I ever got laid. What's the deal? I want to be a Vulcan so I can get some. Holy shit. They only used to screw every 7 years. Now all of a sudden, and he's screwing Chapel while he's got T'Pring at home. Then he marries T'Pring. Now he's fucking Leon. What the hell's going on? What's going on? We got a married Vulcan that's doing every female on the ship. Maybe he's bi. We'll do some males in season 4. I don't know. All I know is he's doing everything with red blood, dude. Oh, my God. What? It's breaking canon. It's shitting all over canon. You can't do that. It pisses Star Trek people off. Oh, Christ. What happened to this show? The Gorn? They're fighting the Gorn as if it's like an enemy that we've had for years. In the original series, we didn't even know about the Gorn. When Kirk saw the Gorn for the first time on that planet, Vasquez Rocks, that was the first time we had ever seen the God-blessed Gorn. We didn't even know what they looked like. So now, why? Why did we do that? Why couldn't we have just made up some other race? It wasn't necessary. We didn't have to break canon. They just did. They rub salt in so many wounds, man. And you know the worst of it? I pay for Paramount Plus. I paid for Paramount Plus, and they played 11 minutes worth of commercials during my 57-minute episode. Or 53, something like that. They played 11 minutes worth of commercials, and I'm paying for the network. Now, I'm sorry, but I think we got duped, ladies and gentlemen. Netflix is doing this bullshit now. You know, I've got to where I'm doing less and less of those. I got Prime, and I actually bought Paramount Plus through Prime because that's all I'm doing. And I've let Netflix go. I've let Hulu go. And I'm doing more Tubi and shit like that. I'll take the 2 or 3 little ads. Because I'm not paying for it. I'm either going to do ads or I'm going to pay for it, but I'm not doing both. Don't charge me for Paramount Plus and then give me 11 minutes worth of ad all the way through an episode that sucked ass, that was written by people that don't even know Star Trek. I love the actors in this. I love the sets. I love the ships. The writing has been crap. It's been about half and half. There's been some really good episodes, too. But you know what? Of all the episodes they've put out, we still haven't had a Doomsday Machine. You know, we still haven't had something really good like in the original series. Or a Yesterday's Enterprise. You know, or a, you know, Year of Hell. I mean, we've had some really good Star Trek over the years. And about half of what we're getting out of this franchise now is retreaded bullshit or cartoons. I'm sure I'm boring you guys. You're talking about everything else. I probably should move on. I've been on an hour and 23 minutes. I'm going to take about 10 or 15 more minutes to see if there's anything else you guys want to discuss. And while we're doing that, I'll check real quick on the news that's going on right now. All right. Yeah, there was a settlement today between Amazon and the New York Times, and the New York Times content is being used by AI in AI training. And Amazon is actually going to pay the New York Times for their data. That could set a bad precedence. I don't know how that's going to end up coming down later, but Um, Another big one that happened today, a landmark AI copyright ruling. A judge has deemed that Anthropic's license book ingestion for their LLM training, um, they ruled that it's fair use. It's another thing has been ruled fair use. That's a good thing. Big tech AI wins in court. Courts favor Apple, Meta, and OpenAI and Anthropic in recent copyright cases. So there's a lot going on right now with this when it comes to AI and who owns the material that AI makes. You know, technically, really nobody does, but eventually we're going to have to settle all this. And what happens if down the road, if we have ChatGPT make us something, then that becomes partially ChatGPT's owners and get partial ownership of that. I mean, it's going to get interesting. I'm already looking at building my own AI machine here in the studio, and that might be the way to go, because I think eventually everybody's going to start wanting to get their own AI machine, because there's going to, and I say everybody, tech geeks like me are going to want to go get their own machine and build it themselves and make it work, because as we're seeing with ChatGPT, the restrictions get nuts on these things, and they won't let you do this, and they won't let you do that. And so I think we're eventually going to see people like me building my own system here and running my own AI and giving it full access to the internet, and letting it do its thing. I do believe that Meta and Facebook is absolutely full of toxic people. I couldn't agree with you more, Aquarius. Absolutely. Breezely, what's up? Thanks for coming in. Yeah, I'm going to be doing Facebook and that stuff, not because I want the toxic people in here, but because we need to let everybody else know that we're here. I'm having in 5 years to get 17,000 subs. It takes so long. I don't want 5 more years to pass before that silver plaque's hanging right over there. And that's kind of my thing right now, is I'm trying to shorten the time frame down that it's going to take to get to that huge benchmark. And the number one thing everybody keeps saying that I'm not doing, I'm doing a lot of things. Like I always put the hashtags in, I always put the keywords in, I always have a very description with very keyword rich. I've got my channel all set up with everything all properly in there, and I don't skimp on anything. I check all the boxes. I do everything I'm supposed to do. So what else can I do to get more people on YouTube beyond what I'm doing now, which is I'm giving you guys the best show I can do. I'm doing everything I can the right way on YouTube. That's all I can do. So I'm pressing on the gas pedal as hard as I can. Well, we need to add other vehicles to the ride. That's what we need to do. And we added Discord. We're going to be adding, I'm already on Facebook and X and all these. I don't send much over there. I put shorts up every now and then over there just to keep the channel alive. But eventually I want to be doing more of the shorts. I'm going to keep doing those. I actually use Opus Clip for those. I'm going to keep doing those, but I'm also wanting to start sending out my live stream once a week to all the services so that we have some footprint out there. Yeah, I know. Hey, Aquarius, that's a good, that would be a cool thing, is get into AI, build your own machine, and just make a channel out of it and just do it up. You would be on the cutting edge of what's going on right now. I mean, that AI is obviously the big thing right now. Obviously. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, when it comes to forecasting for weather and seismology and space weather and all that kind of stuff, there's a pretty big margin of error. And so there was like the tidal wave the other night. It was a nothing burger. No, it really wasn't. There was 5 foot of rise on one side of one of the islands. There was some rise. Did they overdo it? Yes, but because we didn't know. And it's one of those things where if you don't, like down here, when Ian came, they issued the evacuation orders way too late because they thought the storm was going to Tampa and not coming here. And they didn't issue the warnings because they're being very careful not to issue warnings that turn out to be bullshit. So what they're trying to do is only issue good warnings. And what ends up happening, they're 8-10 hours late getting warnings out, and we're going to bed the night before the storm hits first thing in the morning, and they come on and they issue a mandatory evacuation order for my zone, my mother's zone, all my family's, everybody's zones. And I'm like, well, we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. I mean, we're done. We're bed down for the night, and we're done. We're not getting on the highway in the middle of the night with a storm coming in. So we all just bed down. And my mother ended up riding it in her home on top of 4 foot of water. She sat up on top of her entertainment center. And the water came right up to her butt. And she's sitting 4 foot high up. It came up to the light switches in the house. Yeah, they're not all nothing burgers. If you remember, there's been a couple of these tsunamis that killed 100,000 plus people. So they're, like I said the other night, tsunamis are one of the larger threats to human life on the planet. So we do have to take those, and you do have to take every precaution with those, even though most of the time it's not near as big as they think it's going to be. All right, let me check here. Let me do a quick check around and see what we got going on here. No tornado warnings. In fact, they've allowed the severe thunderstorm warning there to expire. And this doesn't look all that impressive either. Not really a lot going on right now out there. Oh, man. And there's the Denver radar. You can see that it already went through Denver. All right, guys. It's an hour and a half. I'm going to call it. I need to get a little rest. I've got a busy 3 days coming up. I'm going to be spending a lot of time in the next 3 days programming on these computers, okay? I haven't figured out how to make this thing alert me yet or whatever. But if you guys see something or you need to get a hold of me, because I'm not seeing something big happening or whatever, you guys can use my... I check my email, every couple of hours for sure. I've got it on my phone and everything. So you could email. You can also put it in the breaking news over on the Discord. Those are probably the two quickest ways to get me. Eventually, I'm going to tell you guys what I'm doing. I'm doing the Discord breaking news thing. I'm eventually going to set up some kind of hotline. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do it yet, but I've already decided I want to figure out some way that you guys will be able to alert me when you see something I should cover. It's important because my biggest weakness right now, I'm telling you guys, I got the studio. I got glass coming in with a gig up and a gig down. I'm cooking with all kinds of gas. Here's the problem. And it comes down to one thing. My weakest point is being notified when incidents of magnitude occur. Every single website, whether it's CNN or Fox News, okay, no matter which one I go to, I sign up for their breaking news alerts, and that son of a bitch goes off every 30, 40, 50 minutes for the rest of my life. Bling! Breaking news! Some actress I've never heard of before was diagnosed with something I've never heard of before. Bling, bling, breaking news. Some Middle Eastern country bombed some Middle Eastern country. Bling, bling. It just freaks me out, dude. It freaks me out. I need something that will alert me of incidents of magnitude. shootings with over 3 people, manhunts, brush fires over 1,000 acres. I'm using the alert feature on Broadcastify, and that is working some, but not all incidents have scanners that the numbers run up right away on, and that's what it uses to set off the alert. So the whole bottom line is here, my weakest thing right now is figuring out a way to be notified when I need to come out here and sit in this chair and press the go button. And so if you guys have any suggestions on that, email me or put it in Discord, because I want to know how can we do this? I can't give out my phone number. I mean, obviously that's not going to work. But I could do a virtual text line or something, and you could put it in your phone, and then anytime you have breaking news or you see something going on, you could literally text it to the alert number, and it would come up on all my screens, and I could have it at work and everything, to where it would alert me on my phone anytime anything is sent. It would come up on my text in my phone. I can do that. I think that might be the way to go. But I am working on it, okay? So bear with me on this. Like I said, this is my weakest thing right now. Hey, Wormwood Alpha. What's up? Thanks for being here, man. I'm just signing off, but I'm here. We're here every night. We go on at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we'll stay as long as we need to. We were on till 4:30 in the morning the other night with the tsunami. But tonight, there's nothing going on, and I'm going to bed. I broadcast 3 hours at a commercial radio station before I come here and broadcast here. So it's a little crazy. So anyway, we've had some busy nights lately. It's nice to have a little bit slower night. And we did the talk last night on the World's Fair. That was fun. I'm glad you guys humored me on that. I'm glad there was a little bit of interest in what I consider to be a really, really cool thing that happened in our past, and that's the 64-65 World's Fair in Flushing Meadows, New York. A wonderful thing to go back and check out. Happened 5 years before I was born, and it's a lot of the inspiration for Walt Disney World and the People Movers and the Carousel of Progress and the Small World After All and all that. It all came from that one World's Fair. And the same thing over here with Gene Roddenberry. He got a lot of his inspiration for his TV show that he was writing and putting out pilots for right as he went to this World Fair. And so it was a kind of a neat thing. I put it all together for you guys last night. It was good. All right. Anyway, that's basically what we got here, guys. This is Starship Studios, and we are currently right now live in Southwest Florida. We broadcast live 6 to 7 nights a week. Right out of here, and we do breaking news, storm chasers, hurricanes, tornadoes, manhunts, police actions, shootings, stabbings, robberies, whatever we get. We also do just scanner coverage of busy locations, scanner coverage of tornado touchdowns, and all. We do crazy stuff here, so it's a lot of fun. So definitely throw us a like on there and a subscribe, and turn the notifications on so that you'll be notified when we go live here. And if you guys have any ideas on this notification problem I'm having, let me know. If you know of a service out there that gives breaking news without alerting every hour, that only does really big incidents, that's what I'm looking for. Please pass it along to me. I would really appreciate it. All right, everybody, live from Southwest Florida at Starship Studios. My name's Ian. This is Starship Adventures with our nightly show called The Sights and Sounds of Earth. And I'm going to be signing off just a little early tonight, try to get some sleep. You guys have a great night out there and a safe tomorrow. And we'll see you guys back here tomorrow night for another episode of The Sights and Sounds of Earth. Good night, everybody. 7-3s, KO4 EFS, signing off.